Welcome to Access Eco, your trusted resource for sustainability news. Today's guest is Arshi Ayub Zaveri, the CEO of Trust with Trade Group and Senior Advisor to the Royal Family Office of United Arab Emirates. Arshi has dedicated over 12 years of professional experience with the Royal Family Offices of Abu Dhabi and Dubai in active partnership that necessitates subcontracting of strategic initiations. Sorry, I'm going to start over. They can edit. Arshi has dedicated over 12 years of professional experience with the Royal Family Offices of Abu Dhabi and Dubai in active partnerships that necessitate substructuring of strategic initiations, economic and political management, business and financial aid, along with overall assistance for the Middle East, North Africa, and Asia Pacific. She completed her academic credentials in public policy economics from the University of Oxford and is here with us today to tell us about the incredible sustainability measures she is helping to employ at Trust with Trade Group. Arshi, it's such an honor to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much, Reina. It's really an honor to be here, and I'm looking forward to our interaction. Thank you so much.
Yes, it's truly a pleasure, and I'm so glad we had a little bit of time to chat before the show, and you're just so pleasant, and I've really loved learning from you. I want to tell our audience more about Trust with Trade Group. I've really been intrigued as I've been researching your company and seeing how, as an oil and gas company, you have some really progressive views on sustainability and renewables. Can you tell us a little bit about how Trust with Trade is working with sustainability and renewables?
I think renewable energy is becoming crucial in the next years as the main tool to fight against climate change. In order to navigate in the energy transition, transforming the global energy sector from fossil-based to zero carbon by the second half of this century, I think urgent measures need to be quickly implemented from individual and from the regulation standpoint. From policy frameworks, smart technology, market instruments should be boosted at all levels, institutional, private sector, civil society. Collectively, we face a plethora of challenges to maintain a sustainable, competitive global economy. As a group holding, our key focus is essentially to develop and invest in more energy efficient machinery, reduce disposable by applying lean manufacturing, focus on resource efficiency when building new facilities or acquiring any newer entities, increase in energy efficiency in already existing facilities. We certainly view sustainability as a global priority and are committed to combating the impacts of climate change through relevant strategies and policies as per the United Nations SDGs 2030. In the UAE, we're working to achieve the goals of the 8 principles of governance and the 50-year charter launched by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the ruler of Dubai, which include improving the quality of life, developing Dubai's society, and ensuring a brighter future for our generations to come.
Wow, that's, again, as I've been researching everything that the Trust with Trade Group is doing, like you said, that's been a 50-year implementation that he's put in, that you're really working hard to, okay, we're a company that started out with oil and gas, and now we're going to work progressively to come alongside the world and make sure that we are introducing sustainable practices into our business more and more and more. I know that you have some solar initiatives that you've been working on. What has been the group appetite for bringing in and exploring different formats of renewable energy?
We're certainly aligned with the UAE Energy Strategy 2050, which aims to achieve an energy mix that combines renewable and clean energy sources to balance economic requirements and our environmental goals. The UAE as a country will invest 600 billion until 2050 to meet the growing energy demand and to stay with the Energy Strategy 2050. The strategy consists of 5 main key pillars: infrastructure, legislation, funding, building capacities and skills, and having an environment-friendly energy mix. Our group holding is primarily, the 5 pillars of our group holding are into renewable energy, oil and gas, petrochemical, coal handling, agriculture, and carbon neutralization via tissue culture and biotechnology. The range of our solar products offered from our group holding are into utility PV, solar plants, on-grid, off-grid systems, windmills, hybrid systems, solar lanterns, home street lighting system, pumping systems for development, construction and also financing of renewable energy projects in the emerging markets, particularly in Africa and East Europe. We're also executing several PV on-grid and off-grid PV solar for residential, commercial users in the UK, and in the range of 5 kilowatts to 50 kilowatts on-grid and off-grid solutions. Definitely, we are really looking forward to invest into much and exploring other formats of renewable energy, and I think we will be in a good place in 2021.
I really think you are. I mean, really, you from the UK to Africa to Middle East and Asia, you guys are really expanding your knowledge and your breadth of sustainable resources. And I know you can't talk about all of them because you have so many contracts with different companies, but the little bit that I was able to peek into and learn about, there's some cutting edge technologies that are both helping with carbon credits because it's helping with the CO2 reduction through this particular plant, and then also, you know, using that as a fuel source to burn so much cleaner. And I'm really excited as that continues to come to fruition and the world gets to see that Trust with Trade Group and the UAE is really helping lead the world on some of these sustainability measures. And I'm really excited as the future continues to unfold. And I really hope that the rest of the world, including us in America, because sometimes we may be a little slow to sustainability here, that we catch on and really follow that lead with these different technologies that are emerging.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think our technology for non-catalytic depolymerization works on the principle of thermal depolymerization. We don't burn plastic. We heat the plastic in absence of oxygen. This process is safe, controllable, and 100% non-polluting. The technology does not generate any harmful greenhouse gases, and the output fuel can be used again by industries. Our pilot project has a rated capacity to consume 1 ton industry dead plastic per day and produce 500 liters of fuel and 220 kgs of pet coke. The plant is completely green with zero greenhouse emissions. It's the clean and green way of handling the refused and end-of-life plastic as a technology. It is not pyrolysis. There is no greenhouse gas emissions. The fuel that is produced can be used in industries, transportation, recommended in whatever recommended blending ratio. It's less sulfur and carbon in the fuel that is produced. It vanishes the municipal waste plastic and helps to create a cleaner environment. I think one of the other initiatives that we are in a good place, and I will give you a small sneak peek that we are working on, is our digital platform for an energy network that is focused on deploying capital into renewable energy projects and creating an all-inclusive community around it. We shall then trade the same on a blockchain-based exchange in the UAE that shall increase the accessibility and transparency of the power market in the world, whilst also enhancing the speed and efficiency of trade execution. So our blockchain-based energy exchange will have decentralized energy transactions and a supply system which will be on a singular grid. The components of our blockchain-based energy system will include smart meters, smart devices, home sensor technology, smartphone apps, networks that are controlled by smart contracts, distributed secure record of transactions, secure storage of ownership records, payment via cryptocurrencies. So definitely, I think in terms of technology, we are exploring some increasingly new and innovative formats to digitize energy, and all our efforts are really concentrated to sort of create that proper balance in terms of how we are approaching this entire agenda for sustainability whilst being able to continue our business.
Absolutely. And again, as I've been researching your company, I really have enjoyed that you're creating a circular economy in so many different ways with the depolymerization plant. You know, you're taking plastic and making it into a clean burning diesel fuel. And so these are things that we're needing. And so you're taking a waste and bringing it into a renewable energy. And that's so incredible, and it's so great to see the work you're doing in that, as well as I know that you work in, your company has a waste management wing to it. That's something that you work on, and with the shipping waste, and you're able to recycle these different kinds of metals so that they're not, I saw the pictures of ships, you know, and they're just like old and dilapidated, and I was thinking, wow, I never even thought of where all this waste goes to when the ship is done and it's just a shell. Same with airplanes. And so I love that you guys are recycling these materials and helping to create, again, that circular economy where nothing goes to waste.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think the idea really is a lot of my experience has been within ship cutting and shipwrecking, and I've really used that experience to the best leverage for our group holding to be able to create that relationship across the Asian countries in primarily in India and Bangladesh, where we have some really robust joint ventures wherein we are able to send all the scrap metal and being able to create those are again sent forward to smelters that help them to create the raw material. So we, in our small capacity and a humble capacity, are trying to make sure that there is absolutely, and we are in line with the vision of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed in terms of becoming landfill free. We are in the UAE. We are hopeful that we are able to get to zero waste, and all our efforts, even as a group holding, are concentrated to that.
That's so important, and again, I applaud you for really leading that effort to be zero landfill, zero waste, and knowing that you have a vision that we can make that happen. And so I really applaud you for that. One of the things that I've noticed is your company is doing great things in the world. They're helping startups with guidance and funding, as well as supporting companies with mentoring and injecting of capital for scalability. How has this been being received? And are you able to tell us any of the progress made by any of the companies, maybe in a just general source? I know that you have a lot of contracts which is wonderful. I know that if I worked with you, it would be very confidential. So I appreciate the contracts and the confidentiality you hold. But also, how is that going? And are there any projects you can tell us about that have really been successful?
Definitely, I think we are in certain cases. So when we help startups or companies in their growth or maturity stages, we really identify and filter the companies who are sort of aligned with our vision as well. Because the idea is that we'd like to work with like-minded people, and we'd like to associate with them long term. I generally don't do an advisory wherein I do a certain portion of it and then I leave them. I prefer hand holding the company in terms of mentoring, idea formation, business models, fundraising, etc. And sort of creating that win-win for a very long-term relationship with the idea, because that's what one should do if you really believe in the idea of a certain someone in terms of a product or a service. I believe that we need to handhold, communicate, collaborate from a professional and also from a personal standpoint. Our incubation provisions the best for entrepreneurs in early stages, and we have some really interesting companies that are primarily into blockchain for mining. They are also into a lot of physical asset commodity trade based on technology. We are able to deploy a lot of interesting companies into blockchain, upcoming fintech, and of course biotechnology. One of our companies is into biotechnology and tissue culture. It's basically for carbon control, and where we are in a very good place when it comes to that certain company. We are hopeful that the carbon credits that we accumulate will be applied to our systems where individuals can trade, and we're able to tokenize those carbon credits and incentivize companies to pollute less. So a blockchain-based ledger will be primarily used for this certain company, and then that would be a very interesting turnaround, a game changer for all of us.
That definitely will, and I love that you're incentivizing those companies to do more with their sustainability measures. So I know you've told me a little bit about your measures for carbon control, biotech, and something called tissue culture, which I'm not sure my audience out there may know what tissue culture is. If you could explain that a little bit for us, and help us understand how that's really helping move the world forward into a net zero carbon neutral world.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think as a group holding, we are like everyone's aware, we are primarily into energy, into mining, and that's why we've also now been focused upon the carbon control via biotechnology and plantation clones that primarily modify the tissue culture of that species and genetics so that we are able to commercially create a very good product and a very good byproduct. The farming of our particular clone absorbs CO2 gases and generates 3 to 4 times more oxygen than equivalent stand of trees. It's based on a very hybrid model, like I said, species and genetic and culture-wise. It is able to take in 200 tons of carbon dioxide in 1 hectare. So they're also particularly tested for fuel character and found to be very ideal for generation of electricity, either by gasification or by combustion. The fuel analysis, calorific value, average 4,000 caloric per kg, ash content 0.3 to 0.4%, bulk density 0.7, and the renewable nature of the plantation, the value of the carbon credit available for generation of electricity using biomass is actually sufficient to meet the cultivation expenditure for any company or for a country that is able to plant these particular species into creating a more carbon neutral culture. We're modifying genetics that help us extract ethanol from the plantation as well. We use ethanol. I think using ethanol can really reduce oil dependence in greenhouse gas emissions. We're also able to create bio-CNG. 4 kg of these species planted in a cultivation will produce 1 kg of biogas. 140 hectares of cultivated can produce sufficient biomass feedstock to generate 5,000 kg of gas every day. Again, we're also able to achieve coal replacement via these planted genetics, where I think a 5 million acre plantation, we can achieve coal replacement of 200 million tons. Definitely, I think in terms of carbon credits that we accumulate, these will be also a very critical issue in 2021. And in order to really curb carbon emissions, where we are really focused upon countries and economies, also private sector and participation of the public sector and private sector collectively will be able to achieve this goal of sustainability, because the idea really is to collaborate, communicate, and find those relevant people, companies, organizations that focus on a carbon neutral agenda. So I think from our side, the investment that we have in this specific technology and in biotechnology, and we're really hopeful that we're able to spread this across every part, every country, in every space, and we're able to create oxygen paths, curbing carbon dioxide, and of course, commercially, we are able to achieve so many products out of it. Main being ethanol, because we are able to modify the genetic, and this ethanol will primarily be a better product than we are able to extract from either corn or maize. So we're hopeful that this cultivation was going to be, again, a game changer for the world, and collectively we all are able to achieve our carbon neutral goals.
That's incredible. And where can, if someone's interested in maybe getting funding for their startup, if they're interested in investing in some of this technology and finding out more about what you do, where is the best place to find you and get a hold of you?
Please feel free to come to the United Arab Emirates. I'm most of the times in this country. It's a wonderful country, very progressive, very, very welcoming of each one of you. And we are hopeful that with or without the pandemic, you choose to come to the UAE. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you all for watching. And thank you for your interest in sustainability and making our world move forward in a progressive, sustainable, and profitable way. We'll see you next time on Access Eco.